Hi, this is Erica with Launching Legacies. Welcome to our daily devotional. All right, so we're at the end of this development of our friendship with God. We're at the end of that devotional series, and today we're going to look at the birth of the promise. And so Isaac comes into picture, and that's as far as we're going to go with the life of Abraham, because then it becomes kind of the life of Isaac. He blesses his legacy and so on and so forth, and that's beautiful. But we're here watching now the benefits of developing a friendship with God. One is intimacy, right? I mean, Abraham and God developed this intimacy that is beautiful. If God calls you his friend and he writes it down, and it's found in 3 places in the Bible, you know you legit have done some good things with the Lord, okay? Because he is calling you friend, and that's a big thing to say that a person is your friend. I remember that the Lord taught me a lesson about someone who really, they were not a friend to me, but I was a friend to them, and God had asked me to be their friend, but he said to me, they're not capable of being a friend to you, but you can be a friend to them. And so I did. I proceeded to be a friend to them, even though they weren't really a very friendly towards me. They were not a friend. They weren't my friend, but I was their friend. And I remember in that it was sometimes it was a strain, it was a difficulty, because it was like, I just really feel like I don't have to do this, right? Like I just don't need to be in this relationship. And I think for many of us, if God had to evaluate our ability to be friends with him, he might be like, I'm really your friend, but you're not really mine, right? But in this case, we see this mutual relationship. Abraham is the friend of God, and he is the fulfiller of the promises. And now Isaac is born, and there's been a lot of drama, but Isaac is born and the promise is here, and there's a few more crises that have to take place, and Isaac being sacrificed and so on and so forth. But at the end of the day, God is like, look, there's benefits in being my friend. Intimacy is one of them. Fulfilled promises is another one of them. But also, just to have relationship that is tight, that holds on through the negative, through the waiting, through the difficulties. Because you see, what's happening here with Abraham, as we look at him and his friendship with God, is that we never see him turning tail. We never see him. He doesn't behave like Sarah behaved. He doesn't run away and go into this other place in which he completely thinks that God is not going to give him the promise. Now, he does some silly things. In one situation, looked like he's about to pimp out his wife. That's pretty just disturbing. But those are his issues that he typically has with man. If you notice how he regards God, in the mistakes that he made, they're different than other people in the Bible as we see them display. He never really doubts that God is going to do what he's going to do, and God does what he's going to do, but he never really gets wholeheartedly involved in it. Sarah's the one that suggests Hagar have the baby. He goes with it. Wasn't the best idea. He also received some punishment for that, just natural and logical consequences, right? But so he doesn't always, he's not perfect is what I'm saying. He doesn't become perfect. He's not becoming God, but he definitely seems to have a way of trusting God that is deeper than other people and other demonstrations, and over a prolonged period of time. And it's really interesting because, like I said, Sarah had the same promise Abraham had, and Sarah was just like, nah, it ain't gonna happen. And then she was tripping and trying to find another solution, and then she was having all kinds of issues. But big picture, when Sarah was tripping, Abraham was still trusting God, receiving the guests that God brought, being able to receive the promises that God brought. And even when it was time that promise, which was birth, was to be sacrificed, because that's what happens after Isaac's birth. It's like, oh, you finally made it. You're here. It's wonderful. Because God asked him to. He was ready to sacrifice that promise. It's the intensity of his faith and trust in God that is dynamic. This friendship is like no other. And there are so many benefits from it, because it's easier to walk with a person that you trust. And you trust people who you've called your friends. You've trusted them because they have had deep relationship, meaningful connections with you. And so what is the benefit then for us to have this paralleling Abraham's friendship with God? Is because God is calling us into friendship because he knows that we need the intimacy and the trust to be able to really walk with him. Will you walk with him? Will you develop friendship, and will you let that friendship transform you for his glory? I hope that you will. I pray that you will. I want to. I want to keep doing that. And so I'm praying for you, but I'm asking you to pray for me, that I would be closer and closer in friendship with God. And remember, I asked in the early devotionals that it would be such a blessing if you out friendshiped God, you out friendshiped me with God. I know that sounds crazy, but if you outdid what I was doing, if your efforts were even more advanced, then that would be amazing. Because look, if we're all striving to be God's best friend, we're achieving far more than we were when we weren't. And the truth of the matter is, God honors us in trying to know him and trying to love him and in trusting him. He blesses us as a regard of that. And that's the truth, that the relationship dynamic of us walking in friendship with God is something that is unmistakable and irreplaceable. Are you willing to do it? Can you walk that journey with the Lord? I hope that you can. We've had a wonderful time. I know I've had a wonderful time doing this devotional series, and I'm so glad that you joined me. I'm so glad that you're with me. And I'm glad that you will have a wonderful weekend and that you'll be blessed. And we'll see you again Monday morning with another devotional series. And until then, be blessed, friends of God.